Well, first, obviously, it just shows this league you can't take anybody lightly. A 1-7 team coming on the road and leading up almost wire to wire to the end. I mean, just first talk about this league and what Denver was able to do today.
I think that's the one thing. The Summit League is a really good league, and I think sometimes we don't always get the credit we deserve, but it doesn't matter the record. There's a lot of teams in this league that might not have the best Summit League record, but they're really, really good. They're dynamic, and they can do a lot of things. I mean, Denver shoots the ball really well every time we play them, especially like when we were there and then even today. And they're a really good defensive team. I mean, they're one of the better defensive teams in the league, even though they might not have as many post players as, some of the other teams. But it's a very dynamic league, and you can't take anyone lightly, like you said. Anyone can come and play on the road, at home. It doesn't matter. You got to be ready to be gritty and grind and play our best at all times.
It seems like in the second quarter, fourth quarter, your defense really stepped up and forced them to take some tough shots that led to some DCOs. It seemed like there's times that I feel like there was a lot of spark on defense, and there's other times there was 5 or 6 and ones today.
Mm-hmm.
So give your defense a little credit, I guess.
In moments.
Yeah.
I thought at the beginning of the game, that's one thing I got pretty irritated about, and I got on them at halftime, was just our communication and our defensive effort. We didn't have that in the first quarter. And when you come out and, we are obviously one of the best offensive teams in the league for the most part, but we also have to elevate our defense. And I thought we didn't come out and set the tone defensively early, and that led to such a poor first quarter. But I thought they responded to our timeouts, especially to our halftime talk about the communication, the effort, being in the right position. There were a lot of times we were just out of position because we were delayed or a step late. And so just having that energy and the effort, and I thought, at the very end, we didn't get the lead until the very end of the game. But when we were able to play that last 12 seconds of defense, they really did they communicated. The energy, the effort, the grit, and the grind, it was there, and that's why we were able to get a stop.
Talk about Jaylee too. It's just a girl that comes off the bench and is able to step up and be that alpha for you guys. A lot of the times, it just seems like every single game she comes to play.
And she does, and she's consistent. She finds a way to get down that lane line and get to the rim. She came out and she missed some of her jumpers early, which is very, very rare for her. I mean, I call her Jaylee Jumper and she's deadly with her jump shot. And so, I think once she settled in, got to the rim, and was able to kiss a couple of those off the glass like she does, then she settled in and was able to kind of get in her groove and get in her rhythm. They tried to mix it up and run some man, run some zone. I thought we didn't do as good of a job as recognizing it quick enough to get us in the right positions, and our spacing was a little bit poor until the end of the game.
3 clutch offensive rebounds from Megan, a few down the stretch. How some of her gritty plays that don't show up on the stat sheet won you these tight games?
I think that's the one thing about Meg. She doesn't get the credit that a lot of the players get on my team, but she does. She does do the gritty things that don't always make the stat sheet. She finds a way to get a big rebound. I can get on Meg pretty hard, and she usually responds, and she definitely did today because, I got on her a couple times, and she stuck with it. She doesn't hang her head. She comes back in, and she finds a way to do the right thing and do the little things like that just show up at the end of the game when we are able to get a win.
How do you build off of this? Just keep finishing out, and especially this month is going to be crucial for you guys to go into that tournament in March.
Absolutely. I always say basketball is such a long season. You play for 2 full semesters. It's long. I like to compare it to climbing a mountain, I think we're at the part where we got to start taking bigger steps up the mountain. We got to start leaping and growing. The one thing I told them, I could critique a lot of things about this game. But you know what? At the end of the day, we might have only led for 12 seconds, like it says here on this stat sheet, but my team didn't quit. They showed fight, they showed grit, they showed determination, they showed the type of character and faith that they have, and it was on display at the very end of the game because, like I said, they could have hung their head about missed shots, they could have hung their head about defensive mistakes, they could have hung their head about missed rebounds, but they came together, they banded together when it mattered, and they showed that they can get each other's back, they can guard when necessary, they can get to the rim and finish when necessary, and they did that. And I think sometimes you got to have these type of games that show grit and grind and last second pressure to be able to show that you have the follow through and that you can handle those pressure situations, because it's going to happen in February and March.